And he's like, what about your kid? And he's on the phone and he's playing the baby noises. I was like, oh, man.
What's your favorite scary movie? Swallow this.
Hi, Lance Velchik here, along with Tyler Nichols. Tyler, my friend, how you been?
Oh, I am doing wonderful. I mean, we are in the midst of wonderful cinema like Exorcist Believer being released.
October, man. It's always going to be hit or miss.
Yep.
I haven't seen it yet. Have you?
I have not, but hopefully I'll see a afternoon weekday show so I can really enjoy it for all it's worth.
Yeah, so I think it's clear the reviews I'm reading that maybe, and again, who am I, that David Gordon Green wasn't the right choice.
Yes, and it's funny you bring that up because I would like to read something that came out today from William Friedkin regarding Exorcist Believer. This came out before he died, where film critic Ed Whitfield had posted this. William Friedkin once said to me, Ed, the guy who made those new Halloween sequels is about to make one to my movie, The Exorcist. That's right. My signature film is about to be extended by the man who made Pineapple Express. I don't want to be around when that happens. But if there's a spirit world and I can come back, I plan to possess David Gordon Green and make his life a living hell.
That's why I love Friedkin is the man. You know, I don't give a fuck on a flying donut. It's like, I love you. That's the kind of guy. But I mean, I don't remember exactly. Do you remember when it was announced that David Gordon Green was getting the series? Was it after this? Was it before the second?
I think it was before the second, but it was definitely well before Ends. But I'm pretty sure it was before the second even, because remember the second got delayed because of COVID. So
yes. Okay. Because I'm thinking he signed this paper because I think Halloween 2018 got some decent reviews. I disagree, but people seem to like that movie and they signed it to him. And then he, shit the proverbial bed and was stuck with this. Because I promise you, if they probably could have got out of this, they probably would have. You know what I'm saying? Like, I almost think they were too deep in at that point, but there's no way.
They absolutely are. They paid $500 million for the rights to The Exorcist. They are in deep. Yeah. And we're going to get Deceiver. Like, people are like, oh, it's going to get canceled. This is the biggest opening weekend for any Exorcist movie. So remember that, even if it's terrible. And so, yeah, maybe Deceiver comes to streaming only. Maybe that's what ends up happening, and then we don't get a third one. But I have a feeling they're still going to end up doing it because they spent $500 million on those rights.
I mean, I guess I'm not surprised I didn't look into that exactly, but it answers all my questions because that's the only way that this goes on. But I bring that up because you and me are going to actually talk about the worst scene in Spiral. But Spiral kind of had that thing where they try to come back, do something in their own way, completely failed. And now we got, I would consider not a fixing job, but definitely a course correction. And you're a Saw guy, so I can ask you this. The new Saw X, is a course correction from Spiral, correct?
It's a course correction from 3 on, essentially. I mean, there's been mistakes made along the way. The biggest of which being killing off John Kramer in part 3. So they obviously then tried to do this little change with Spiral, which then didn't work at all. They also tried to do something similar with Jigsaw, which again, just didn't work. And so it's really just a course correction in order to get back to the best time period of Saw, which is that period between 1 and 3, essentially, which is then that 2 area. Well, it's just because of the fact that then John is still alive and he has these apprentices and Amanda and other people that I don't want to say if people don't know.
Okay. But what I was reading online is people were saying like, oh, this is the real Saw 2. And that seems like a bit of a punch, especially now knowing how Spiral was received.
I mean, it's more, I think people are more saying this is the real Saw 2 and that it's set in between 1 and 2. So, and I mean, I don't think it's any bashing of 2. It's definitely a bashing of Spiral. I don't know. I would say I don't know anyone that likes Spiral, but I did meet some random people that like Spiral on the Las Vegas Saw trip that I was on, but they had terrible reasonings for why. So I think that for the most part, it's pretty widely hated.
I was going to say you're a big Saw guy. I'm more of a casual fan. So where do you put this in your ranking out
Dead
of
last.
all? Oh,
Dead
wow.
last. Spiral
Wow.
is dead last, like easily. It's so not even close. Like the Saw 3D is really dumb and has a lot of dumb elements just because of the 3D stuff and just the story is a mess. But there's at least some entertainment to be had. And Jigsaw, Jigsaw just has some fun stuff in it. So yes, those three are the bottom tier, but Spiral is so further beneath them all. I mean, I don't want Chris Rock giving stand up in my Saw movie, like ever.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Well, it's funny because I like I said, I'm more of a casual fan. And the first time I've only seen this movie once. I remember thinking it was okay. It's good. So decent, kind of safe. I didn't hate as much as other people, but then I rewatched the ending so you could talk, and I was like, oh, this is a lot worse than I remember. What was I just optimistic? I don't know. It was a weird change in opinion. I usually don't jump that far apart. Usually I'm pretty like I might go up a little, down a little, but this was one of those like, oh, whoops.
Yeah, I think I saw this in the drive-in when it came out, and I'm pretty sure I gave it a 6 out of 10. And I think a lot of that is the fact that this has always been kind of an underdog series, and suddenly it has Sam Jackson and Chris Rock returning, and it seemed like it was finally getting some respect. And it's just, it didn't end up working out in the way that I wanted it to, because it's just not Saw. It's the weakest villain. It's the weakest villain reveal. It's the weakest traps. Everything about this movie, rewatching it is such a depressing experience. And I own this on 4K. So I don't know why.
You have to be disappointed in high resolution. Well, I want to talk about the ending then, because we would agree. I mean, you could step in. It is the worst scene, and rewatching it is corny. I mean, I don't want to use the word cringe because then corny works better, but it's both. It's both.
Yeah.
I was like, even the ending after reveal with Sam Jackson. I was like, oh man, it's one of those things that wants to be cool, and I'm like, oh, this is not landing.
Yeah, and very poorly directed too, which again, don't want to bash on Bousman, but I do have to mention that just the reveal is very bad in that we see a shot. We literally see Max Minghella before the actual reveal is there. He's up, like we see him, and then they also do a wide shot where you can still see him, but they don't do like the reveal cue until it's a close up, where it's like, dude, we've already seen him for 2 shots at this point. What are you doing? That bugged me a lot.
The actor, I don't think he's a bad actor, of course. I think he's fine. But
Max Minghella?
Well, in this movie specifically, though, I didn't buy anything he was selling. It's one of those, like, he was acting tough, and I was like, I don't know.
See, I kept thinking throughout his little end monologue that how poorly written it is, but that he actually is pulling it off. However, I don't think he's intimidating at any point in the entire monologue, entire movie. No. There's no threat whatsoever. It's more of like this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, like I again, it's a movie, so he just seems like he'd be short in real life. It has that sort of vibe. Also, I don't remember this at all, but I was thinking how stupid it was when we're doing like the in the flashbacks, and he's like, "What about your kid?" And he's on the phone and he's playing the baby noises. I was like, "Oh man!" I don't know.
It's so funny because it's just like, wait, why? What was the point of having it? Like, yeah, I get like a little bit of a reasoning, but like, it's not that, like, we don't really need that, like, in any way other than the fact that it's like for the twist, because yes. we need to trick the audience of like, oh wait, well, we know that the detective was off dealing with his baby, so it couldn't be him, or it's like it's literally just there to try and red herring us, which I hate.
Yes, exactly. It's for the sake of plot, the twist. But if you isolate it, it doesn't do anything but just make you go, well, that's corny. That's kind of dumb. He could have just said, oh, my baby's crying in the other room. Like, you don't need to hear it. Like, I don't hear any of my friends' kids ever. And I'm not like, do they have it? Are they there?
I love too. It's like, it seems like it's a recording that like he almost recorded through like Audition or something that then he's replaying. You would think it would be something that he just gets off of YouTube, but like, no, he's got that sound wave that looks like it's recorded raw. So he found some baby at a park or something. And he's like, cry.
He had it up. Yeah, he had the sound wave. I love it.
And then the whole him going through and acting like he's this almost like higher power. It completely, I think the biggest problem with the twist is it completely misses the point of Saw and Jigsaw, because they're like, the whole thing is, yeah, wait, you thought I was going to help you kill cops? Like, where it's like, wait a minute. Your whole plan is to kill corrupt cops. Jigsaw's whole thing isn't just like killing the unjust. He gives you a test that like you can try and get out of. And yes, the big example is a lot of the sequels. We've seen traps from not John, and so they're Amanda and Hoffman and other people. It's a little more brutal. So it's like, but the John traps, no, there's a brutality to them, but there is that he almost wants you to escape, which no, Max Minghella literally wants to kill these cops. And he's like, and that's all the traps are there for. The traps are just set up to kill people in brutal ways.
And then I hate to be this guy, but then that stuff makes me go, okay, now that we've given the reasoning, right? Which on a surface level, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. He's trying to right the wrong, right?
Yeah.
You're right though. It doesn't really add up in terms of the overall series. It seems just very, again, surface level.
Yeah.
But then you're thinking like, okay, why don't you shoot people then? Like you have more of a chance of getting caught. Set up these elaborate puzzles and having to get pieces. And I know that you could argue all the way back to the most, but it acted like a more of a grounded movie for most of it. I mean, I think like you're saying that the traps weren't very big. And I remember when I saw it, I was like, oh, because they're trying to go for something a little more sort of, I think I said what I really wanted out of this was Saw meets True Detective, and what I got was Saw meets New York Undercover. But it just makes me go, okay, then what are you doing all this for? You're just risking getting caught and sort of letting somebody know. You're going to trip yourself up. Just catch the cop coming out of the garage and shoot him in the back of the head. But no, and then you're gonna convince Chris Rock. It's like, why would you let anybody listen to this? Now all of a sudden you have one person that could rat on you or hurt you, or like, yeah, I know because he wants to do something, but it just, here we are being logical. It's like, dude, you don't make me be logical in Saw movie.
So weak. It's one, and it ends on Max Minghella's character escaping, but like, okay, Chris Rock knows who he is, so now they have like a manhunt against him. So that's not fun. What is any, like, how is that setting up for an interesting sequel? It's like, oh, cool. So now they're hunting so he's Jigsaw. Like, what? Which, by the way, obviously this isn't part of the reveal, but the stupid voice that the doll has in this movie, it's like a female voice that you talk about not intimidating.
Yeah.
Holy hell, it is not intimidating in any way whatsoever. Which, by the way, Amanda does like voices in the second one, and I think in the third one too. It's intimidating because Shawnee Smith can do an intimidating voice, but like it doesn't work in this one at all. Max Minghella just, I don't know, he comes across unthreatening.
Why did they change the signature puppet to like I know why, it's a pig, but that seems like a really dumb thing to do. It's like we already saw, I don't know what its name is, in the tricycle.
Billy.
It's Billy.
I got a nice photo with him.
Oh, you do? Yes, we've popped it up. It's a good photo. Yeah. Why try to? Was this movie just basically trying to kind of start its own, like, because it's called what, Spiral from the Book of Saw. So this was the sort of segue into like its own thing, and yes. I just find it kind of lame, man. The pig was lame. The voice was lame.
The pig is in all of them, though. Even going back to the original.
That exact pig, really?
I mean, not like.
I meant the doll, not like the face.
Yeah, not the doll. The marionette doll.
Yeah, that's specifically what I'm talking about. No, because I know that.
No, that's a new thing.
Yeah,
I just thought you meant like the pig aspect.
No, yeah, it's been around. Shawnee Smith was a pig in 2, right? When she takes up, that was the reveal. Yeah. So.
Yep. Oh, I don't have the thing. I had Lionsgate gave me a cool little plushie that was essentially that. The little pig mask, her in the pig mask.
No, yeah, it's a heartbreaking thing because Sam Jackson, Chris Rock, and here's the thing. I can't fight you on you saying you don't want Chris Rock doing stand-up movie, but I also have a really soft spot for Lethal Weapon 4, and he actually does stand-up in that. But I think I could argue that belongs more of a comedic action film than the serious, detective horror movie.
Yeah.
But how impressive. Chris Rock's a decent actor and has a presence. Sam Jackson. I mean, he's a fantastic actor and an amazing personality. And man, the drop the ball with those two is impressive.
Thank God. I thought you were about to say that they were good in this because they are awful in this movie in such a weird way.
I don't hate them in the movie per se, but it's not because I think they're good, because it's an odd tone, and I guess you're gonna say that it's a bad tone, and that's fine. I'm not gonna fight for it. But I know Chris Rock is like, his personality is it's kind of fun, and it's so contradictory to the tone of the movie.
Yeah. I mean, I love Chris Rock. He's in season 4 of Fargo and like absolutely incredible in it, but it just doesn't work in this one. Especially, again, it's the whole stand-up comedy routine while he's on a like undercover mission. That's not what I want for Saw. I mean, the Saw X has humor. It's I would say it's much funnier than this one, and it works. It's not stand-up. It's natural, fits into the world, like kind of comedy where I'm like, that's what I want from my Saw movie. If they're going to add humor, I don't want like actual jokes with a punchline.
Okay. So obviously what is this even called? What is this tell? It's not obviously it's not a prequel. It's a sequel technically, but it's more of a spin-off, right? Spin-off, the correct word?
I mean, heck, they called it Saw X. So I would say this is still the 9th entry. It's still in that world. It's still like,
but I'm saying that this was canceled. They're not going this way. So
yeah.
Where can they go now? Because Saw X was it's well known, so it's not ruining anything. It's a prequel.
Oh,
so
they'll do a sequel to Saw X where they'll sit in that zone between 1 and 2, because there's they pretty clearly make it where like, yeah, John might be at the end, but he's not quite at the level that he's at the end of Saw 2. So they'll still be able to get some mileage out of that, because you got to think too, Saw X only takes place over 5 days, so it's one of like Saw 11 could take place over the next 5 days and the next 5. You know what I mean? So it's like they can milk this for quite a while.
Tobin Bell is he 80? I mean, we gotta
Yeah, he's old, but you better watch out. All those horror award shows, I can tell you, spoiler alert, who's going to be winning Best Actor at all of them over the next year.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm excited. I got to see it. I think when it comes out on digital, I'll give it a watch.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it. I've seen it twice in theaters now, and it just gets better with each watch. I'm so very happy about the reception that it's gotten, because it's honestly insane. Where there's certain things, usually when I watch a movie, even when I like it, I often can pick some of the stuff where I'm like, I think that this is going to be something that like the general public is upset about, or that, critics at large go after. But with this one, I mean, I think people are just very accepting of like what Saw is, and it just executes what Saw is in such a perfect way that I think that it's really cool to see how much people have embraced it. It's to the point where like I regret giving it a 7 out of 10. I wish I'd given it an 8.
Oh wow! So you've gone up since your last viewing. Okay.
Yeah. Cool, I very rarely for a review do I feel like that nagging sense of like, I wish I could change it, but that one I do. I wish I had given it an 8.
All right. Well, man. Well, I appreciate this scroll down memory lane. I never want to just go and pick apart a movie, but thank you for making me rewatch the ending, because I was wrong.